You've all heard of Confucianism, haven't you? It's practically a running joke in Western culture. Confucius says whatever. And yet the vast majority of Westerners have no idea who Confucius really was, or for that matter, what he actually said. Confucianism was founded over 2,500 years ago by Kung Fuzi, or Grandmaster Kong. And since then, generations of China's most prominent philosophers and scholars have written about, interpreted, and added to its meaning. Starting in the Han Dynasty, which ran from 206 BCE to 220 CE, Confucianism gradually overtook and made illegitimate all other philosophical schools, including legalism and Taoism. When the Sui Dynasty, 581 to 618 CE, instated the famous Chinese civil service exams, which drilled students in the 5 Confucian classics and which all civil servants had to pass in order to serve, every facet of government became inundated with Confucian doctrine. And from there, the philosophy disseminated into religion, commerce, warfare, family life, and every other aspect of Chinese society. Confucianism, you might say, was everywhere. In fact, it's virtually impossible to understand East Asian history without first understanding the basic tenets of Confucianism. Since Confucianism held such a dominant role in Chinese government and academia, it became necessary for all new ideas to be proven on a Confucian basis. In other words, if any argument could not be justified through Confucius, then that argument was indisputably wrong. Therefore, more so than any other philosopher in history, Confucius has been reinterpreted thousands of times to suit the needs of different men, different movements, and different generations. Confucius's influence is so prevailing that he's been given credit for virtually every triumph and blamed for every defeat in Chinese history. He has played the part of an autocrat and a revolutionary, a hierophant and a radical, a warlord and a pacifist. Like a great method actor, writes historian Michael Schumann, the sage can take on whatever role he is hired to perform. So much stage makeup has been caked upon him that he has become barely recognizable. One group who reinterpreted Confucius to suit the needs of their generation were the Neo-Confucians, who lived during the Song Dynasty, 960 to 1279 CE. They were a wide and varied group of writers and academics, but Zhu Xi is preeminent among them, as it is he who synthesized their ideas into a single, comprehensive philosophy. In so doing, Zhu Xi completely changed the face of Confucianism in China from a rigid academic discipline, the kind of thing that only the ruling class would study, to a philosophy much more accessible to the common people, a philosophy infused with aspects of popular religions, such as Taoism and Buddhism. Zhu Xi has been called the most important Confucian philosopher after the sage himself, as his writings and reforms are what endeared Confucian values to the common people. Born in 1130 in Fujian province, Zhu Xi passed his civil service exams, and at a young age, he became an official of the Song Dynasty. Like Confucius himself, Zhu Xi was not well suited for bureaucracy. He tended to lecture his superiors unendingly on the proper application of government, thus alienating himself. Altogether, he served for only 9 years before assuming a life of quiet scholarship. He wrote influential commentaries on all of the Confucian classics, as well as his own original works. His book, Family Rituals, became a must-have guide for respectable families. In fact, Family Rituals was critical in spreading Confucian ideals of the perfect family to neighboring kingdoms. At the center of Zhu Xi's teaching was Li, or principle. Everything in the universe possesses Li. Li is a universal force, but it also resides in individual things, taking on specific characteristics. It comes from heaven, and therefore it integrates all things. In its pure form, Li is called the supreme ultimate. Zhu Xi wrote, "There is only one supreme ultimate, yet each of the myriad things has been endowed with it, and each itself possesses the supreme ultimate in its entirety." This is similar to the fact that there is only one moon in the sky, but when its light is scattered upon rivers and lakes, it can be seen everywhere. For humans, Li is our sense of morality. Zhu Xi followed many earlier Confucians in maintaining that human nature is essentially good. Therefore, in humans, Li represents our fundamentally moral nature. Li cannot be observed by the senses and can only be discovered through self-cultivation and the investigation of things. A true sage is someone who can perceive not only his own Li, but that of others and of all things, which allows him to understand the interconnectedness of the cosmos. However, between man and sagehood is another force, the qi. Qi is what all things are made of, though the shape qi takes is determined by Li. Think of it this way. Li is a divine blueprint, where qi is the raw building material. Put another way, Li is perfect, while qi has yet to be perfected. It is flawed. In this way, the qi of a thing can obscure its true heavenly Li. In humans, qi comes to represent our earthly desires and baser instincts. Only by overcoming one's qi can one truly enhance one's benevolence. And that's very important because benevolence is the highest of all Confucian virtues. With benevolence, we can understand divine Li. According to Zhu Xi, through discipline and quiet sitting, a Confucian term for meditation, a person can one day experience a breakthrough to integral comprehension. Then the qualities of all things will be apprehended and the mind will be clearly manifested. Truth, in other words, can finally be attained, assisted by this meditation. Now, Neo-Confucian meditation must not be confused with the Buddhist practice. Confucius always emphasized a worldly sense of purposefulness, a total focus on the present and the physical life. While Buddhist meditation is an attempt to break free of this world, Neo-Confucian meditation is all about connecting with it. The human sense of order and value does not leave one alienated from the universe, a modern study of Chinese philosophy explains, but is precisely what unites one to it. Zhu Xi was vilified in his time for his metaphysical interpretation of the sage's teaching, and he and his ideas were banned by the Song in 1196. However, much like Confucius himself, Zhu Xi's ideas grew to prominence only after his death. It took a change of regime for him to be fully rehabilitated. When the Mongols overtook the Song and established the Yuan dynasty in 1271, its new emperor Kublai Khan had no choice but to lean on Confucian bureaucracy to manage his vast new empire. At the insistence of Neo-Confucian advisors, Zhu Xi's version of Confucianism was elevated to doctrine. His interpretation of the five classics became the orthodox commentary, and the selection of texts which he thought were most important of the Confucian writings, called the Four Books, became the center of the new Yuan dynasty civil service exams. In this way, Kublai Khan established that Zhu Xi's Neo-Confucianism would remain the standard form until the fall of imperial China in the mid-20th century.